What are, I guess, some of the big challenges right now that RCA is facing? I mean, I know you guys have done a really good job over the past year, 2 years actually, of really pushing a lot of the issues that the small carriers are facing. What I guess is kind of still on the top of the list for you guys right now?
Well, I guess there's two ways to break it down. You can break it down as individual policy issues.
Yeah.
Data roaming, huge, interoperability, USF,
Yeah.
all those issues. But today you heard from Hugh Mina, and he sort of encapsulated all the concepts into one idea, and that is we need a national, open, wireless ecosystem that all competitive carriers can enjoy the benefits of scope and scale. And unfortunately, that is fairly complicated. And all those issues I mentioned before, interoperability and the 700 megahertz, data roaming, which is a huge primary issue for every one of our carriers because by definition, other than Sprint, no one has a national footprint license. So you have to have alternatives. You have to have partners to roam with. And that gets you into handset exclusivity, devices that work, and obviously spectrum policy. And that's one of the reasons we were so opposed to AT&T T-Mobile merger.
Yep.
And because that, again, encapsulates the data roaming issue. If you're a GSM carrier, then you really are going from 2 potential data roaming partners to 1. So you're really going to a monopoly. And you're eliminating a national carrier. And that national carrier, as you know, is one of the value price carriers. They're also, T-Mobile was much more willing to enter into agreements with the smaller carriers and provide that scale that we have to look for. And quite frankly, T-Mobile enjoyed also. And so the AT&T T-Mobile merger was a huge issue for us. We were glad to see that the Justice Department, after looking at the facts, decided that it was not in the nation's best interest and the economic interest to pursue that. Now, it's not over. Obviously, excuse me, in D.C. nothing's ever really over, but we made substantial progress, I think, and calling the attention to the fact that we need a competitive wireless industry, and we need to make policies that ensure and promote a competitive wireless world. And that's what I think Hugh Mina, speaking for the board and speaking for all RCA members, said when he said we need a national, vibrant ecosystem. And I think he was sort of calling the FCC out a little, saying, now's the time to make those pro-competitive decisions on all those lists of policy issues we just talked about. RCA has matured to the Competitive Carrier Association.
Yes. Yeah.
And we have Sprint, which is one of the big 4, one of the smaller big 4. And then we have Metro PCS. There's not a lot of rural coverage in Metro PCS. But there's a lot of competitive carrier coverage, and you know, U.S. Cellular and Cell South and ATN, which is you know, Altel. I mean, and then a lot of really strong, vibrant, smaller carriers like Bluegrass Cellular and Cellcom, and most of those names aren't household names. But when you put them all together, you're talking about a potential ecosystem of 80 to 85 million subs. That's subscribers throughout the United States. And, you know, I like to tell members of Congress, I said, that's, you know, almost 25% to 28% of all constituents in the United States. At what point in time do you want to tell your 1/4 of your constituents that they can't have the phone that they want, that they can't roam, and they don't have the services that the other 75% in the United States have? I don't think they want to say that. I think what they really want is industry to come together and find a solution. And I think it's time for AT&T and Verizon to step up and say, you know, for the betterment of the wireless industry and the economy, we need to have solutions, business solutions, to what I think has been a very, and I'll just say it, very selfish, self-serving direction they've been following. And you look in the last 10 years, you look at, you know, from 2003 or 4 to now, and you start seeing the consolidation. And, you know, when I first got into the wireless industry, there were less than 50 million wireless customers. And I watched it grow, you know, very quickly. And as that process matured, you saw consolidation.
Yeah.
And as consolidation, and got more rapid, you see fewer and fewer choices for, especially the smaller carriers and the customers in rural America. And so we really do need to think about what policy decisions can FCC make. That's not a regulatory triage. What it is a mandate to have competitive policies. I call it competitive connectivity. And we need, and as a national, not only national policy, but national economic and national security policy, we need to have competitive connectivity. And you need to have choices. And we need different people pulling different strokes on the technology levers so that we have new and innovative ideas.